Alright, hello Acalan, hope you're doing good, man. I apologize for taking a few weeks to get this video report to you. I had a kind of a stressful and just busy time lately, but I mean I was kind of clear about that it might take a little while, but I hope you don't mind too much. But I did record our lesson and I did review it and everything, and I've got a lot of good feedback to give you. So yeah, we're going to touch up on some things, because you did say that you wanted to do better with Duel, do better with your decision making during Duel, and to get better a bit with your fighting when it comes to those situations. And yeah, I'm going to touch up on all that stuff. But there's one thing I wanted to talk about first, just to get it out of the way. So let's imagine that this pillar right here is a champion. There's so many times when you were playing Sorlag where you were using your Sorlag ability, the spit, like this. Like you would point at the champion, and then you would spit like this. But if you see what happens here, it doesn't actually reach the target, because with the Sorlag spit, it has this this arc like this, so it spits down quite quickly. It falls down quite quickly, rather. So I just want to, show you how to do that better. Because it'll just, it'll increase the damage that you do in fights. You'll be able to be a bit more efficient with certain situations. So instead of aiming at the champion, because let's say like that's the head of the champion, and these are the feet, right? You need to aim more like right above the champion. Because you'll see like what the difference is, right? It goes like from the head of the champion to the toes. It just completely covers them in it. And also to keep this in mind too when you're using Sorlag Spit, she shoots 5 individual acid blobs, and I can show you that as well, like the fact that you don't have to just use your spit on one different champion. Like let's say, well, I mean in Duel you're just trying to spit on one champion, right? But if you're playing a deathmatch or team deathmatch, it can be really useful to put your spit in different locations. And, I mean, let's say if we wanted to aim the spit up in that window, we wouldn't be aiming like this. We'd aim more like up here, like this high, to get into that window, maybe even higher up, and moving forward a bit too. So I just want to show you that for a moment. But you see, we have like 1 blob here, 2 hit there, 3, 4, and I think a 5th one in the window as well. So, and you can be really dramatic with it too. So you could spit on the champion that's here in a deathmatch, and then, oh, there's like someone over there too. You could spit over there, and there's someone behind you. You can spit there too. You have to be kind of quick with it, though, because when the spit comes out, all 5 blobs come out pretty quick. But it is possible to put it in like 2, 3, or even 4 different locations if you're quick enough with it. So I just want you to keep that in mind for next time. And I also want to show you this this jump. Because I saw you were dueling on Insomnia, and yeah, it would definitely be useful for you to see how to make this jump. So it's interesting, like you would think to make this jump that you have to do this, right? Jump forward, but look at that, right? Every time I jump forward, I just get knocked away, right? Every time I'm just getting pushed away, pushed away. And the reason for that is because they designed this map to have like this right here, this like bump in the wall, right? So even if we jump and hug the wall or anything like that, we just keep falling and falling. So that this kept happening to you in the duels. And so the way you actually make this jump, and notice that if I press jump, there's this circular icon that pops up, right? So to make this jump, all you have to do, and it's quite easy, is to just hold forward. Look at that. I didn't even jump at all, right? You can hug the wall and do it, or you can just walk from like the kind of the middle sort of part of the road here and still make it. So you never have to actually jump to make this jump. But there's moments where you will want to. And the way you actually do make this jump by jumping is you want to start jumping from the center of the floor here or up against the wall. So if we're in the center, we literally can just jump forward and we made it. Right? So we can just even jump from here and we make it. So the key is to just, if you are going to jump, don't jump from this ledge, right? If you jump from this ledge, you're going to smack your head and you fall every time. I mean, sometimes you won't. You might, if you do it like perfectly in this section here, then you're all right, So that's okay. And then again, if you're up against the wall, you also can make it if you do kind of like this half. Well, I messed it up, but but you can still make it if you're up against this wall. If you do kind of like a circle jump as well. And of course, like how we do a circle jump is we, you know, we start from the left and then we go forward, right, and keep holding forward. And I wanted to help you with your movement with Sora lag. We'll get into that in a little bit as well. And I also wanted to show you how to make this jump up the jump pad. Because some people don't know that you can actually get into this window. And the easiest way to do it is honestly to hold the right direction key. Just right. You go up the jump pad and you just hold right. And you can make it. And if you get used to it, you can start getting in there much smoother. And eventually, like this, you see, you can just get in there without even bumping up against anything. And it works on both sides. I mean, you can hold the left key and make it too. You can hold forward. But forward will give you a little bit less air control. It kind of works, but better to do right. Right and left gives you the most possible air control. So yeah, I wanted to just touch up on that thing first. But yeah, next up I'm going to be talking about how you need to be fighting when it comes to Duel. Like you were asking me about, you know, like to do better with decision making during fights when you're dueling, right? And so I should grab myself a railgun. And so there's some rules that you have to stick to when it comes to your fighting in Quake. So again, let's maybe find an area where this is a good example, like right here. So if your opponent is like right over here and you're over here, or vice versa, right? Like they could be here and you could be over there. Like this would be considered like a close-up fight. And these kind of fights, rockets is just perfect. You want to be using rockets. Rockets, shotgun, things like that. But you always have to be careful when you go through these doorways because it's going to really hurt you if you push through the doorway carelessly because you just get blown up with rockets right here, right at the doorway. So you got to be mindful of that. And sometimes a nail gun can be good, but I want to make sure. Because I saw this when you were playing quite a few times, because again, I did rewatch our lesson and review kind of what you did right, what you did wrong. And many times when you're fighting or you're chasing somebody down, you'll chase them down with rockets like this. Like we'll just chase them down like this. So you never want to be chasing somebody with, well, I mean, you never want to be chasing and trying to get damage with a finishing kill with rockets. Because, you know, if we do this, look how slow those rockets actually are. So if that person's running away, by the time that rocket reaches them, they're already around the corner, right? So it'd be better for you to utilize more shotgun. Also starter machine gun. I don't have it right now. I have the heavy machine gun, but you know, for the example's sake, it would be great to just see you use more starter machine gun, especially if you only have rockets. Because there was many moments where you would only have the rocket launcher, and you're just trying to utilize it exclusively. Like you're just only trying to use it in every single situation. But you know, once we get past, you know, this distance of like me standing here to these hourglasses, like this is honestly the max distance that you want to use with rockets. This is honestly probably the maximum. And even then, you wouldn't want to really like sit at this distance, rocketing someone while they're standing here with lightning gun. Like if they're against a wall, technically you could use rockets on the wall and screw them over like that. But as a general rule of thumb for your up close fights, I really want you to be using more shotgun and rockets because those are like really the only two weapons to use. Again, like sometimes you could use nails only if you are backing up. Like if they're kind of up close and you have to back up like this. You can totally use nail gun to kind of throw out some defensive damage. Like that's fine. Like that's pretty good to do. But when it's a fight that you are like committed to, you gotta make sure to use those rockets and shotgun. And then when it comes to the more mid-range, like you know, let's say from here to the rocket launcher, that's pretty perfect. So for this, you could throw one rocket, maybe, before you commit with like a lightning gun, but for the most part, yeah, you want to use lightning gun in this distance. And we can even see when we're spamming the lightning gun, and this is good for you to test out in your free time as well, that, see, it's not reaching that wall, because the animation of the lightning gun is different when we miss in comparison to when we hit. So, you see it's like this empty animation, then boom, the lightning gun lights up more, you see? So this is the way you can kind of test out what's the maximum distance of the lightning gun. So we're not in range, and then boom, we're in range. And the lightning gun beam will also kind of give you that visual indicator, right? So it's like kind of a softer light, and then you touch something and it lights up much more. Some people don't realize that that's the case, but yeah, so I mean, you can, and this works for every lightning gun skin. So I'm just using the default because everyone has the default, right? But yeah, I mean, you can just start like this and walk up to any wall and kind of test out what your limits are, right? But we know that from here to here we touch the lightning gun, so if we back up a little bit, we'll still be touching the rocket launcher floor, right? And so for the mid-range, I really want to see you use more lightning gun, and you know, just putting more emphasis on that. It was something that honestly, man, like I did that quite a lot, where I was relying a little too much on rockets. Like even in the perfect distances for lightning gun, I was still rocketing. It was something that you were doing a lot. Like you have a rocket habit, which we've all been there. Honestly, everyone at some point gets the habit of using rocket launcher a bit too much. But again, for a rule of thumb, we need to be using lightning gun or maybe even machine gun, because like let's say for example that you're in range for lightning gun, right? But then we back up and you're not. Well, if you're not in range for lightning gun anymore, then the machine gun's perfect, because the machine gun has unlimited range, right? So you can just, you know, pepper that damage onto them, and then when you get close enough for lightning gun, boom, you can just switch quick to lightning gun, and you're good to go. So yeah, I just want to cover that basic thing with you, because and you also can use nail gun, but the thing is that's dangerous is that, let's say you have nail gun but you don't have lightning gun, and they know that in a duel, which they probably will, especially if you just died or something like that. I mean, they're just going to push you with lightning gun if they see that you're just screwing around with nail gun too much. Again, you can throw it out a little bit, like especially if you're backing up. Like if we're backing up around a corner, you notice how like the nails will kind of curve around the corner, right? So that means if they're chasing us, we won't see them, but the nail guns are still traveling slowly to them, so we can still do damage. Nail gun is a really lovely defensive weapon, and it's a really good weapon. Let's say if like you know for a fact they're about to peek from a window or from some ledge or something like that, you could spam a few nails. You don't want to do it too much because then you're kind of vulnerable, but you could spam like a few nails and then pull out railgun and follow up like that, or pull out your machine gun and follow up with more precise 15 damage shots, because the nail gun does 15 damage per nail, just like the zoomed in heavy machine gun does. They do the same damage. It's just a different rate of fire, but the machine gun is, you know, this instant it's not a projectile, it's a hit scan, right? So it's just this instant thing that flies. Meanwhile, nail gun takes time. And I think also a really good rule for you to follow is, again, let's say you're in range for lightning gun, you know, and then you're not. Well, tri-bolt is beautiful too, because this will reach. That'll reach. See it like it's putting holes in the wall, because we're just in the range to where tri-bolt will be perfect. So that's like a really, really good rule for you to follow is, if I'm not in range for lightning gun all of a sudden, boom, okay, well then tri-bolt's lovely to just, you know, pop out and back off. Kind of how I showed you with the nail gun. But tri-bolt is going to probably net you a bit more damage, and it's a bit more consistent than the nail gun at the maximum distance. But again, you wouldn't really want to ever use tri-bolt up close, because here's the thing. Let's say we're using machine gun, but then we want to switch to railgun. It switches really fast. You know, I can do this, switch, and shoot, and it's really quick. And same thing with the lightning gun. We can shoot the lightning gun, and then instantly switch the railgun and shoot. But if we're using the tri-bolt, if I shoot and then I'm immediately trying to switch, like, I'll shoot right now, and then I'm immediately switching, right? Shoot, switch. Look how long that is. It's like a 1.5 second delay. And the same rule applies for even a rocket launcher. Like, you shoot the rocket and you switch, it's a bit of a delay. And it's even probably worse with the railgun, because if I shoot railgun and then I try to switch to lightning gun, geez, like it's, you know, it's even longer. So this is why you can experience at times where certain weapons switching out are slow, because you did talk about that in the lesson, that kind of confused you at times, that sometimes when you wanted to pull out the weapon you needed, it came out really slow. That's why, because every weapon in between the shot has a delay, right? With lightning gun, there's practically no delay, right? It's just shooting like every 0.5 second. And with machine gun, it's very similar. It's just constantly shooting. And nail gun, the same thing. We can just switch quick. But when it comes to shotgun, that takes time. When it comes to the railgun and switching away from that and the rocket and tri-bolts, these weapons take a moment for you to follow up with your shot. That's why using the right weapons in the right situation, especially for duel, it's absolutely, you know, important. So yeah, these are just really important things to remind yourself every day that you play. Like, even if you're not dueling, this is what you need to be doing in a deathmatch. And this is how you kind of figure out which fights to take and which fights not to take, right? Because let's again use the example of the enemy champion being over here and we're having this up close fight. What if we don't have a rocket launcher? What if we just picked up the lightning gun and the nail gun, but that's all we have? But what if they have the rockets? Because, you know, the rockets is right behind them, so they definitely have it. Well, you wouldn't want to take this fight, right? You wouldn't want to, because you push with lightning gun, and what are they going to do? They're just going to be like, oh, he's in this choke point. Oh, rockets always up in the air. You know, you're dead. So this is how we kind of figure out naturally, you know, which fights to take and which not. So again, if you picked up the lightning gun and they have rockets, well, then what we need to do is like back up and get high ground, you know, put yourself in a situation where now the lightning gun is superior up here. And if they only had rockets down here, it's horrible. It's way too far of a distance. Like I said, the maximum distance you really want to use with rockets is like right here. It's a very short distance, right? It's pretty much up close. But if they're far away like this, and especially high up, rockets is not going to be good. The only way it'll be good is one of two situations. It's if they're sitting on the ledge, like if they're peeking you, but they're like standing right here on the ledge, well then yeah, you could shoot rockets right here and blow them up. But if they have half a brain, they're probably not going to be doing that. Or again, if they're like up against the wall, you technically could blow up rockets against the wall and do damage to them like that. But again, that's probably not going to be the case. They'll probably be sitting right in the middle where they're not going to get blown up by anything, and the only way that you would hit them is with a direct rocket. So this is why we're always going to be putting ourselves in a good situation for the weapons that we have currently, which is why it's so important in the first place to make sure we grab all the weapons that we need. And so, and let's say, for example, if you were the guy with rockets down here, right? It's just better to pull out your starter machine gun, and at least you will always be getting damage. You'll get damage, and you can back off and get the weapons that you now need. Because once they're high ground with lightning gun or railgun, then you need to go get your lightning gun. Now you can fight low ground with lightning gun. Because honestly, when you're low ground, using a lightning gun is probably the best decision, because it's more accurate than a machine gun would be, right? And it technically can do more damage. And it has a lot of pushback, so it can make it really awkward for them if you're using lightning gun when you're low. And it's just a good way to like use it to pressure, so you can leave like that, you know, and like get out of the situation for yourself and get yourself a better position. So that kind of covers like the mid-range, right? We want to use lightning gun. It's like the best mid-range weapon in the game, and it's even really good up close. Like don't get me wrong, you know, you don't only want to use rocket and shotgun all the time. Like, sometimes lightning gun up close can be really good. It's situational, and you'll kind of feel it out. But as a rule of thumb, I really want you to just build the habit of what I explained. So, yeah, just to recap, you know, we want to use lightning gun until we're, like, out of range. And then we want to either use a tri-bolt, because now tri-bolt will be in a perfect range, or nail gun and then back up, if we need to back up. But, these are just really good rules to stick by. And when it comes to far distances, let's use, you know, this as an example, right? Like up in this ledge. This is very far away. Lightning gun will not reach anywhere near there. And tri-bolts, I think it just barely reaches that ledge from here, but it's even tri-bolt will not reach. Tri-bolt will only reach if I walk up right here. Then tri-bolt will reach. I ran out of ammo, but tri-bolt will reach if we are in that distance. But I want to stick to more like really far distances, right? Like right over here, or in this window here. So we really want to use railgun. And it's good to just be a bit patient with your shots. People have the habit of, when they're using their railgun, to just like hold down the button and shoot, and then shoot again, and like just do things like that without, you know, giving themselves that little bit of patience in between the shots. Like, it's very important that you do that. Like, in a game, like this game is very fast-paced, right? It's fast-paced, it's all about moving quick, shooting quick, doing all these things quick. But it can really build bad habits, right? Because if we're shooting and shooting without, like, giving that split second in between our shots, we'll just miss way more than we should be. So, when you're far away, I really want to see you use more zoomed-in heavy machine gun. This weapon is so strong. It probably needs to be nerfed. It's that strong, truly. And, of course, the railgun is what we want to use. And, again, if you walk up a little bit closer, boom, we're in, like, the perfect range for tribal. But then you walk a little bit further back, and we're not. It looks like it's hitting in the right spot, but it's not. It's hitting, like, just in front of this wall here. So that kind of covers the weapons. And, I mean, I would say, for the most part, you want to use starter machine gun. Some maps, starter shotgun is also really good. But I would like to see you overall make sure you're using the starter machine gun, just so you build a good habit of switching to it when you need to. Because let's say, for example, you have rockets, and that's really all you have. You know, and you're chasing them, and now they're kind of like out of a distance. Like, because this is like max distance for rocket launcher, right? As I kind of described, like this would be the maximum distance. So once they reach this distance, you pull out your starter machine gun, and you chase them down until they're gone, and you're maximizing damage. You're just maximizing damage, and that's really what Quake is about. Like, that's a big factor with Quake, is to get the max damage that you need. And you know how earlier I mentioned to be patient in between the rails? Like, you want to shoot and then, you know, wait a moment maybe, or like shoot then unpeak, because your railgun has to charge, right? You can't shoot two rails like back to back like a machine gun bullet, right? A machine gun bullet can go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, you know, and that's how fast it shoots. But the railgun, you shoot once and it needs to charge up. So it can be really good when you are using railgun to shoot and then back up, wait for the recharge, maybe, you know, fake peeking a little bit, and then go in for that peak shot. So that patience is really good, and I want you to also apply that same rule to the shotgun, because the shotgun honestly is like a close-up railgun. So you want to like use the shotgun and be a little patient, just so you can adjust for their movement, you know, and follow up next with the next shot. And the same rule applies with the rocket launchers. Too many people, and you were doing this a lot too, and it's normal, like, you don't have to feel bad about it or anything, but like, you know, you're shooting and you keep shooting without actually like following up accurately and pointing where you need to point with that next rocket. So you just need to be a little more patient with your rockets. If you watch a lot of Quake veteran players, especially players like Cooler or Cypher or Agent, they do this constantly. Like, they will rocket a guy and wait that split second or even a full second before they follow up with the next rocket, because you want to get that rhythm down and you want to get the right follow-up. You don't want to just spam it and be panicky with it. So yeah, that covers the weapons, I would say, pretty well. And if you follow those rules, you'll start winning fights much more. But I also want you to adjust something with the way that you fight. So, like, yeah, how to approach fights in general. So let's say, just for an example, again, that this pillar is a champion, right? And let's say you're playing a deathmatch or a duel. It doesn't matter. But let's say, you know, like, oh, you're running around, and you go around the corner, and oh, you see the person, right? This is the person. What I want you to do is to let go of forward. Stop pressing forward, and instead, only press left, right, and the occasional backwards key, maybe. So this way, you're not building this habit like that you have right now, where whenever you're fighting anybody, you're just always going forward at them and doing things like that. Because what that ends up doing for you is you end up taking self-damage from your rockets. But let's say even if you aren't using rockets, it doesn't matter, because if you're using lightning gun, you're going forward with lightning gun. That's not what you want to do. You want to utilize its maximum distance. Because, like, even if I back up like this, all the way back against this wall, we're still in range for the lightning gun, right? So again, I want you to, the moment you go around a corner, the moment you walk anywhere and you see a champion, build the habit of letting go of forward. You know, like, we're going forward, and then, oh, there's a champion, well, we're letting go of forward, we're going backwards, we're pressing left and right. That's what I want you to do. This will get you, like, you'll notice it, I think, too. You'll win so many more fights. Of course, if you're in a deathmatch, someone might just run up behind you and kill you, because that can happen at any time, no matter what you're doing. So, you know, don't put too much value to that. But yeah, I really want to see you recognize the enemy champion, and to make sure that you let go of forward and just press left and right and backwards. And then you can, because here's the thing, it's not just about the fact that, oh, if you go forward, you're putting yourself more at risk for damage. I mean, that is a thing. You know, if you're going forward, you're making shots easier for them, and especially if you don't have the right weapons. But it's not just that. Like, if you give yourself that split second to recognize the situation, then you get to know for sure of like which weapon you need to use, and if you even should commit to this or not. You know, like what I spoke about before. If you're in this situation and they have rockets standing over here shooting you, but you don't have rockets, you just have a lightning gun, you need to recognize that. You need to be looking at your weapons on the right more, and you need to be, yeah, kind of analyzing that better. So yeah, I mean, I think that covers the weapons pretty good in the way you need to fight. And now I kind of want to touch up on your movement. So I'm noticing with your movement, you'll kind of get choked up a lot, especially if you were to stop and then you have to start moving again. You'll do this. Like, let's say you have good like you're moving good, and then let's say like you bumped up against something and you lost your movement. What I see you doing is that I'll kind of recreate it. So I'll bump up against this wall and I'll kind of do what you do. So you bump against the wall and then you just keep jumping forward and you keep doing this and you try to get your movement back, but it's just so slow. So this happens to everybody. Even a professional player will accidentally bump against the wall and lose their momentum. But what I want to see you do is not to keep jumping when you do lose the momentum. Because here's the thing. If I try to start my strafe jump with a jump and then go forward, look how slow we are and how long it takes to get that movement. Like, it's actually kind of crazy how long it takes. So what I want to see you do instead is when you lose your momentum and you bump up against a wall, what you need to do instead is just start with like at most a circle jump, like a full circle jump, or like half a circle jump is fine too. Just don't jump before you move or move as you jump. What I want to see you do is move forward first, because if we run around like this, we have movement. Like, we're not fast, but we have some movement. But if we jump and move, oh gosh, it's like way worse. So what I just want to see you do is, like, again, if you're moving, you bump up against that wall. I want to see you, hold forward and right and start like that. You see how much quicker of movement we have? We already have all the movement we need to be useful. So that's what I want to see you do more.
Overtime.
So again, you're moving, right? You bump up against a wall, you lose your momentum. I need you to reset that whole jump by starting with moving with your keyboard, and well, of course you can jump with your keyboard too. I mean, start with moving these directional keys first. The directional keys like this, left, right, forward, these need to happen first before you jump. So again, like, we lost our momentum. Okay, well then we reset for a sec and we do this, right? We press forward and left, or forward and right, depending on what direction we need to go to. And there you go. That's how we do it. And when it comes to your bunny hopping, because it did seem like you were enjoying playing Sorlag, so you did want to get better with that. So, I mean, when it comes to that, I also want to see you, the moment you start getting good momentum and you're moving at good speed, you can let go of forward, actually. Like, you notice how I'm not even pressing forward at all, and we're just doing right and left. And I remember when I was watching one of your games, you did this really perfectly for a few moments. Once on Deep Embrace, and then I think another time on a different map. It was actually, like, you did really good. Like, so I think you have the capability of figuring that out. But there's also different ways of going around the corner. Like, look, I can hold forward, and we also can go around the corner. I'm not even doing left and right at all, right? And you technically can do this. And also, this technically will get you even more speed if you do it correctly. I'm still figuring it out myself. I had Sirius actually sit down with me and kind of help me with that. So I'm trying to practice that more on my own. But yeah, so I mean, you really want to utilize just the left and right keys when you do have good speed. And let's say, for example, if you're going in a straight line. Because, I mean, there might be a straight hallway like this, right? And what if we don't have any momentum? Well, if we don't have any momentum in this scenario, then we just treat this situation like we're a regular strafe jumping champion, like Ranger, Visor, or Galena, whatever, right? So we don't have to do only left and right, because if we do that, like, we will make it, but it's quite slow, right? So if there's like a straight long hallway, we can just do this. We can just strafe jump as we normally would with, again, with like Ranger or Galena or whatever. That's the beauty of these bunny hopping champions. Like, yeah, they can fly around the corners fast like that, right? But also, if we have to go in a straight line like this, we can just hold forward. You know, every time there's a straight hallway, I'm going forward, and I'm doing left and right. And then the moment there's a sharp turn, I let go of forward. Or you can let go of left and right and do forward. But it's a little bit more difficult to do the bunny hopping around the corner. Like, that's more advanced. I wouldn't recommend for you at the beginning to just hold forward when you're going around a corner, because again, it's just a bit more advanced. It's a little bit more difficult to do. So for now, it's a great starting point to just do left and right because it's so darn easy. So yeah, I feel like that's a really good starting point for you to get used to bunny hopping with. Again, this exact same thing will work for Anarchy. So Anarchy and Sorlag is like this, and again, if we go up a jump pad, you just have to hold it right in this jump pad, or any kind of jump pad. But although, well, not any jump pad. If there's a jump pad that goes only straight up, because most of the jump pads in the game only pop you straight up, right? So I want you to, when you have a vertical jump pad, one that kind of, sorry, a horizontal jump pad, the one that kind of goes across like this, which is there's not that many of them. Insomnia has one. I think Tower of Koth might have one. But outside of that, I think that, you know, every other jump pad, it just goes straight up, right? And so let's use this one as an example. So if we go straight up on the jump pad, you just want to hold forward to get some good momentum and speed. Because if we do forward and right, we actually get less speed. If we go forward and right or forward and left, we're getting less speed than we would if we just held forward. For whatever reason, I don't know why that is, but when you go up a straight jump pad, you get way more air control and movement when you just hold the forward key. So this is a great tip I can give you to help you when you go up a jump pad, because it can be very awkward, because especially if we just do left and right, it's like you would think, you know, we have speed, right? We're going up, we have speed, let's just do left and right like we would around a corner, but no, that's not really how it works. Like, because if I do it right here as an example, we're going nowhere. We're just like we're not going anywhere. So what we want to do is only hold forward, and we get like much more momentum where we can actually make this jump, where before we couldn't make this jump if we did all that stuff. Like, it just, we can try every key in the book and it just wouldn't work. But if we just do forward, we get a lot of momentum. And yeah, so I mean, when it comes to Slash and Strog, like, it's honestly quite a similar thing. Like, when you go around the corner, you're not just holding left and right, although you can do that. Like, it actually does work. It's working for me, see. But like, when it comes to Slash and Strog, I want to see you hold forward and right, or forward and left, depending on which corner you're going around, right? So we were going right that whole time, now we're going left. So you just do hold forward and left, and what I want to see you do too is the same thing I taught you before with, you know, don't jump first, move first with your keys like this, then jump. And this will net you much more speed going forward. So Acalan, I actually wanted to touch up on one more thing when it comes to your settings, which is, I noticed that with the enemy outline settings, that you have it on target instead of on. There was a patch today, so maybe, well, by the time you get this video, it might be yesterday we had the patch, but we did have a patch where it might have turned this with on automatically. I hope so, but I did notice that you had it on target. But the problem with this is that when you're not looking at the enemy champion, they're not highlighted with the outline. And then it only highlights them if your crosshairs on them. So I would just really recommend you to put this on instead for enemy outline. I think it's just going to be better. You'll always see the enemy champion a little quicker. Their hitbox will be a little bit sharper. So I just, you know, I recommend for you to do that for yourself. And also your audio settings were, I can't remember what they were. If I look back in that lesson, I'd be able to see them. But I would recommend for you to just copy what I have, honestly. I would recommend to blast the master volume to maximum. Put the sound effects volume to maximum. I mean, you can put the music and menu music up if you want, or whatever. And even the ambient volume, that's your choice. But with the announcer, I'd put that at 8 or even 10. It's up to you. It's okay either way. And I would also max out the champion voice volume, because this will make it so you can hear enemy champion voices a little better. And the way that you, like, I understand that this might make the game really loud for you, but the way that you adjust it is you go into your Windows mixer, like audio settings, where it shows like every program's audio. If you need help with that, let me know. But what you need to do is go in there and you manually reduce the volume in your Windows audio settings. I think that's a better way because you need the in-game audio maxed out, I personally think, because this way all the sound effects will come out clearly and be more open. And again, you can adjust it with your Windows settings. And I also remember that you said that you were playing on Wi-Fi. Again, if you can get an Ethernet cable, it doesn't matter how long it is. Like I have a very long Ethernet cable. It's probably like 100 feet long, or 50 foot cable probably is what it is. But yeah, get yourself an Ethernet cable. Make sure you plug that into your computer because this will just give you a way better experience when you play Quake. The way Quake is designed, it's very much not meant to be played on Wi-Fi. You can play other games on Wi-Fi and this and that, but I would really recommend for you to, you know, at least when you're playing Quake, to maybe hook up the Ethernet cable or to figure that out for yourself, because that's something that is going to be holding you back if you're playing on Wi-Fi. Okay, Acalan, so I want to touch up on strafe jumping a little bit more, and then after that we're going to get into the very last thing, which is your Duel to-do list, which will help you a lot with Duel and kind of give you a better picture of what you need to be focusing on. And it's very easy to do, and it will make you win much more often. But first thing I want to cover again is just regular strafe jumping, because at the end of the day, this is the core Quake movement. This is just the most important. And there's just something that I want to point out is that you never have to even let go of forward when you are a strafe jumping champion. Because even when I'm going around these sharp corners, I'm not stopping my movement. All I'm doing is letting myself not jump anymore. So like I'm going forward and everything, but I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping moving like overall is what I mean. But what I'll do is like instead of continuing the jump, because let's say I want to go around that corner sharply. Well, if I jump like this, you know, we can't just make it if we keep jumping without stopping, right? If I want to go sharp around this corner, we can't do it if we keep jumping without stopping. So again, notice how this circular key represents the jump, right? So I'm just flickering it whenever I'm like landing. I don't hold it down the whole time unless I go up a staircase. Like if I go up a staircase, I'll hold down jump or a ramp, you know, because then we can just constantly be activating the jump animation. But outside of that, I mean, I feel like there's no point really pressing the jump key unless you're just about to touch the ground. Because I mean, I use scroll wheel to jump, but I mean, I can also do the exact same thing with space. You know, like if I'm just about to land, I use space bar. It kind of helps your movement be a bit more accurate. But again, I want to just really show this for you, and the fact that I never stop moving. The only thing that I do stop doing is jumping. I'm just if I want to go around this corner, I just stop jumping, right? I need to make a sharp turn. Well, let's not jump. Okay, well, then we're jumping. Then we're jumping. Then we're jumping. There's a sharp corner here. Stop jumping, and now I'm jumping. Right? There's going to be a sharp corner up here. Stop jumping, jumping. Stop jumping, jumping. You see, so it's just, you just build that habit, and you'll start getting really good movement. And also, I'm going to give you this exercise right now that you need to start doing with every single champion that you play. Sorlag, Anarchy, Slash, Strog, Ranger. Doesn't matter. Like, this is a great exercise for you to practice, and you'll benefit a lot from it, I promise. So what I need you to do is, again, any place that we walk, right, or run to, it's a doorway or a hallway, right? There's a middle part of it. Like, this is a gigantic, you know, hallway or doorway, right? But still, there's two walls and a center. And right here, two walls and a center. So there's this very simple rule I want you to follow, is that anytime you are going to strafe jump, we are aiming for the center of every single doorway, and in the hallways too, every time. Because here's the thing, again, if we strafe jump and we don't do that, like, we'll bump against this wall, and then we're bumping up here, and like, geez, we didn't even, you know, come up here fluidly. So what you need to be doing instead is to aim your jump like right in front of the doorway, like just right in front. You know, I want you to like jump like this in front of the doorway, not at the doorway, because again, if we keep jumping at the doorway, well, then we're going to bump against this wall and that wall, and we're losing momentum and all this. What I want you to do instead is, not only are you aiming to go in the center of every doorway, but in front of the doorway at the center of it as well. So again, as an example, I want you to just jump out in front of the doorway. Now we're jumping in the middle here, and we go in the middle again, and we keep going. And see, again, we stop jumping, right? And then we go in the middle, and again, we stop jumping, we go in the middle, and we go in the middle. And we keep, like, you need to, like, hammer this in your head. It needs to be, like, a habit. Again, like, this is a movement exercise that would be really good for you. I might even make a YouTube video for people, like a general movement guide, to talk about this, because I feel like this is such a simple thing that professional players don't even talk about. Maybe they don't know how to explain it, but this is just a great way for you to get your movement to be much more crisp, I promise you. It's like your bread and butter. So again, we want to aim in the middle of a doorway, and then go through the doorway in the center, right? And then we're moving, we're in the center here, right? Then I'm stopping my jump, but I'm not necessarily stopping to move, I'm just, stopping right here to show as an example, right? But then, you see, then we're aiming in the center. And all these jumps I'm doing, I am stopping for a split second. So I'm in the center, I stop jumping for a split second, stop jumping for a split second, stop jumping for a split second, so I can keep readjusting to the center. And this map and this section is a great way to practice it, because all of these doorways are just a jump away, like we come up here, and then we go through the center, and then we jump here to aim ourselves in the center of the doorway, and we go to the center. We jump here, aim ourselves in the center, here, go aim ourselves in the center, jump here, aim ourselves in the center. So I think you kind of get the general idea now, right? So again, so you want to like always aim in the center, and then you can start being a bit more flexible with it. Then you can start being like, okay, well, let me just fly like this against the wall, then stop my jumps. Because you don't have to always be right in front of the doorway, but I'm just giving that as like a general rule of thumb for you to follow for now. And again, you don't even have to ever stop your movement. You just have to stop jumping so that you can recorrect your movement. But yeah, I think that covers your combat with weapons and your movement pretty well. And then next I'm going to give you this kind of to-do list when it comes to Duel, because this is how you're going to win. So again, number one thing, which is the most important for us, is the item control. Items is what matters, not kills, because you need the items first before you even get any kills to begin with. So it's not about getting kills in Duel, it's about getting the items. So there's only two major items in the game, right? There's Heavy and there's Mega. You need to always secure one of these if you can, but honestly there's many moments where giving them up is totally fine, because as important as they are and as core to Duel and the game as they can be, you could have both items all day, but if you don't have any weapons, well then you can't really fight, can you, right? So your to-do list in Duel is this. If you don't have full health and full armor, you need to always prioritize health and armor. Like if you see any red on your, on the health bar below your HP, you need to go and pick up the health. You need to drop down and get that armor. You need to make sure your health is white on the top and the bottom. Armor and health needs to be full white, full health, so that you can actually fight safely. So this is your number one to-do thing, is you need to focus on your health and armor. This needs to be what you do to survive situations, both for being aggressive and defensive. So no matter what, you need that. And so the second thing is you need to look on the right side of your screen. And if you look at my screen right now, we have rocket, we have tri-bolt, we have shotgun. So we only have two weapons that are amazing for up close, and then one which is like okay for the mid distances sometimes. But so we're missing lightning gun, right? We're missing that mid-range weapon that is more consistent. We're missing machine gun, which is also a good mid to far range weapon. We're missing nail gun for mid and far range. We're missing rail gun for far range. So our other to-do list is to make sure we pick up the weapons we need, right? So I got the rockets, and now I want to keep it in my mind like, oh yeah, the shotgun's over here, the tri-bolt's over here, and the railgun's right here. And then next up I need the lightning gun, and then if we head over here, we're gonna go grab the nail gun. And honestly, man, like the more you focus on the weapons that you need, you will start to figure out with your decision making in the game of where you need to go and when, and fights will be more clear to you, because as I kind of taught you earlier, how to use the weapons and when, and to give yourself like that moment when you do recognize an enemy champion. Like let's say this vase right here is an enemy champion, and we go around the corner, we recognize that they're there, we stop moving forward so we can utilize rail, and we can utilize the weapons that we need in order to maximize damage. And yeah, we still need the machine gun. So we need to keep checking, like, do we have all the weapons? Okay, boom, look at that, we got all the weapons. But then there's another layer to that. So let's say that we have all the weapons, right? But let's say that you're at, you know, very low ammo for your lightning gun, like you're at right now, like I have 4, or maybe even 0. Or what if your rockets only have like 3 rockets or 5 rockets or whatever? That's just not enough. It really is just not enough. So, I mean, not only do you have to get all the weapons you need, but the moment you're out of ammo, you need to go back to where you were, right? And pick up the weapon that you need and replenish your ammo. So again, our to-do list is we need full health, full armor. Then we need all the weapons that we can get. And let's say, you know, for example, if our ability's off a cooldown, well then it's good too to memorize, you know, where are the hourglasses, because now we need to also, when we have time, to go and collect the hourglasses so that we can, you know, get that back, because everything is important in this game. You know, even these ammo boxes, right? I picked up that ammo box, and instead of 100 lightning gun, I have 150. And that's even better, because this is the maximum, and you want to have your ammo at maximum if you can, at least for the lightning gun. I think, you know, having 10 rockets is always going to be pretty solid. But you want to make sure your LG, you know, is at maximum. And so after you have, you know, your health at full, you have your ability up, you have all the weapons you need, then we can focus on contesting the major items, you know, Mega and Heavy. And I want you to, yeah, to recognize what you need to be doing more when it comes to just paying attention of when the items are coming up, like not necessarily timing. I don't need you to necessarily time, but, you know, like let's say, for example, if I pick up the Mega, well then Heavy has to be up next, right? I mean, like, if we just got the Mega, and there's only 2 major items, then that must mean either Heavy is up, or will be up soon. This just needs to be hammered into your head, because you need to have the habit of, like, okay, I fought at the Mega, he got the Mega, or I got the Mega, or whatever. Okay, well now I need to back up, and I need to reposition, you know, for the Heavy, you know, and fight for the Heavy. You know, and then you can grab the Heavy and be like, alright, well I got the Heavy. So what's up after we just grab the Heavy, right? You tell me. Obviously the Mega will be up, right? So when we got the Heavy, we just grab that. Well then the Mega, you see, it is up. So this simple thing, I know it's very obvious and everything, but you'd be surprised like how many players, most players, will just overlook this very simple thing, because it's so easy to get carried away in fights. And that's something too I would recommend for you to not do. Don't get too carried away with fighting, you know, don't get stuck in these rail battles, you know, these rail battles that are just gonna distract you, where, let's say you did grab the Mega, but he's sitting up there already prepared for the Heavy, but you're just stuck in a bad position, low ground, and you're fighting and fighting and fighting, but meanwhile the Heavy's about to come up, and you could have just pushed through with more health and forced a better fight right here with rockets or lightning gun, you know what I mean? And then get ready for the Heavy over here. So again, when it comes to the movement, I definitely would recommend rewatching that. Make sure you kind of get those ideas in your head, especially the last thing that I explained with Ranger here, with, you know, aiming in the center of these doorways with your movement, you know, letting go of jump so that you can, like, you know, move up these stairs, move into this hallway better, you know. Because I'm always holding forward, right? I'm always going forward and doing left, making sure that I'm doing the strafe jumping properly. But I'm just letting go of jump for that split second so that I land and I can readjust my direction. Because again, if we never let go of jump, this'll happen, right? We're not going anywhere, we're just going in a straight line. Even, like, see, we can look in that doorway all we want, but if we're never letting go of jump, we're never going to get there. And again, with the Duel to-do list, number 1 thing, weapons. Probably number 1 thing is your health. You need your health and armor to be at maximum. We need to get 100. Then we need to get all the weapons in the game. Then we need to get, you know, securing of the items and of the major items. And I think the only thing that I didn't talk about was the fact that when you do have all of this, but even if you don't, but if you do have all of this stuff, the other to-do list is to make sure you're on the highest ground possible. So you want to be, like, on this map, you want to be up here, or you want to be over here, because it's like the highest place for the most part that you can be in. I mean, on this map in specific, this is probably the best place to hold in the map, because it's the center. You can see it to come through portal or jump drop down through these stairs, or you can tri-bolt spam them when they come through this hallway or this hallway, and you can rocket spam if they come through this choke point, and you can tri-bolt spam down here. So again, our to-do list is maximum health, maximum armor. You see, I'm not full health and full armor. I'm just, even if it's just a little bit low, we still want the maximum. And so again, maximum health, maximum armor. All the weapons is what we need ASAP, and we also want to make sure we're full ammo on all the weapons, so if we run out, we want to go grab them. And then we have to fight for one of the major items. We need to secure heavy or mega for ourselves, or at least fight for it, at least make sure we're doing damage so they're not getting that stuff for free and then becoming unkillable, you know, and then if you let them get that stuff for free constantly, then you're doing like 200 plus damage a fight and they're just never dying, and you're like, damn, they're never dying even though I'm doing good damage. Well, yeah, because you're not fighting them at the items when you need to be. And then after all of that, we need to always make sure we're high ground, you know, that we're staying high up. Because if we stay low ground, we're going to be so susceptible to rocket spam. Like, it's so easy for someone standing up there to shoot rockets down on us over here, but we can't shoot rockets up that well at all. We'd always have to probably use a lightning gun. So I think these will be this is a great like starting point for you. Like, all the stuff that I explained is probably like 3 or 4 or 5 really core things that'll massively improve your gameplay. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Again, I know that it took me a while to get this back to you, and I might ask you to give me a review out of 10, just like, you know, how you liked the lesson and how you liked this video, if it was, you know, informative and useful, and if I explained everything clearly. And, you know, I'm happy to do lessons again in the future, and if we do, I do promise that I will make a video report for you much quicker. And usually these video reports are about 30 minutes. This one was a bit longer just because we did do a longer lesson than what I usually do with people. And yeah, I want to give you all the information that you can soak up for yourself. Because the thing is, again, you could just use this information for yourself, you know, to improve down the line in the future. And yeah, so I mean, thank you so much, you know, for even booking these lessons with me in the first place. It helps me out a lot, and it makes me happy to help you out if, you know, if I'm doing a good job with that, which I hope I am. I think I am. But yeah, just keep these things in mind, especially when it comes to the movement that I described. You know, try to remind yourself about this stuff every day, because that's even what a professional player does. They're going to be reminding themselves of the core important things every single day that they play. So yeah, I hope this was useful. Again, you have me as a contact, so if there's anything that I spoke about in this video that was a little bit confusing, or maybe you think that could be explained a little bit more in depth, just let me know. Shoot me a message, I will explain it more, and we'll get that figured out for you ASAP, you know, so you don't have to email my assistant or anything like that. You can just hit me up directly on Discord, or send me an email at sibquake@gmail.com, whatever you would like, whatever you would prefer, right? So again, Acalan, good luck. At the end of the day, I gave you the tools that you need, and the only person that's really going to help you improve is yourself in this situation, because I can give you all the knowledge and the information and all the tools that you need, but it's going to be you that needs to put in the work, right? So just watch this video as much as you need to, you know, and if you feel like you kind of understand it really well and you want to get into more, there's so much more I could talk about. I could talk for 10 hours longer, literally, at least, of what you could do better and more things that we could do. So I'm happy to do more lessons in the future if you would like, but I would recommend to just do this as much as you would like to do for yourself, and we can revisit more in the future. But yeah, man, take care of yourself, and I will talk to you in the future.